can move on to Trey Hendrickson, who remains a holdout in Florida, awaiting that new deal. The two sides have been talking, and we'll see if they can figure out a way to get a deal done.
Louis, the Bengals, it's no secret, they need to be better on defense, right? How do they get to the point where they can get Trey Hendrickson back in the fold, and how much maybe does it affect them that he's going to miss some time?
How do they get him back in the fold? Look, I think, to me, I mean, Adam, you tell me what you know as far as like the details of this negotiation.
Guaranteed money. It's all about guaranteed money.
Right, and that usually is a function of them struggling with the future performance protection, right? So in order for them to say, look, guaranteed signing, I want this, that means like you're trying to extrapolate, well, what is this production going to look like 2, 3, 4 years down the road? But they know better than anyone how he takes care of himself, how he practices, how he rehabs, all that. Me personally, looking at him from the outside in, I wouldn't be worried about a damn thing with Trey Hendrickson.
No.
Okay? I would be sitting there, I'd be looking at T.J. Watt and going, look, this dude has the same kind of motor as T.J. does. This guy puts in the same kind of time and commitment to his craft as T.J. Watt does, and he has produced for us. He's been a home run for them. A home run for them. So I think for them, it's kind of like, it's almost like they're saying, hey, listen, without him, who do you think Shamar Stewart's going to look to if he's not there? Who's going to teach him how to be a pro? Who's going to teach Shamar Stewart how to actually rush the passer and not just be a great athlete if he's not there? And now Golden, I mean, who's he turning to now? Yeah. The new defensive coordinator, who's he looking around? He's looking around going, hey, wait a second.
This isn't what I signed
up
for.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, I know Joe Burrow went to ownership and said, hey, look, I need T and Jamar back, okay? That's great. Joe needs his stuff. If I'm Al Golden right now, I'm like, hey, look, you brought me in here to replace Lou, and you're not going to give me anything? You're not going to give me any bullets in my gun? I mean, you have to understand just how important that position is. You see with the money, just follow the money in the NFL. You see what's happening, and Trey has earned his.
Correct me if I'm wrong. No shot he gets traded.
That's what they said. That's what they said.
No shot he gets traded.
Not right now.
So it's either.
Oh, but it could if
no,
we get to the
I think
season.
both sides are intent on trying to figure it out. If they haven't figured it out in October and he's still out there, could something happen?
Khalil Mack September 1st.
Right, exactly. But I can tell you, today, the Bengals are not thinking about it.
I just doesn't. He doesn't come across as a person, a player that's willing to sit 3, 4, 5 weeks into the season.
He's dug in right now, though.
Why do you say that? Why do you say that?
What would give you that impression?
Exactly.
To me, it seems just the opposite.
Exactly. I spoke to him
Monday
night for 30 minutes. He sounded pretty dug into me.
I
said, are you prepared to sit? He said, I don't care. If it doesn't come back on my time, I'm sitting there. I'm not playing.
How far off there?
They're off on the guaranteed money.
The
Bengals were at 1 year of guaranteed money. The other top pass rushers all got 3 years of guaranteed money. It's not hard to figure out. Okay, so somehow we got to be at about 2 years of guaranteed money.
Yes.
Revelation.
As we've learned over the last month, maybe even longer than that, the Bengals are one of the organizations that feels strongly in its principles, and they believe that they have reasons behind their logic in contract negotiations, and they have typically been unwilling to go past that first year of guaranteed structure. Even the T. Higgins contract, which is this gargantuan $110 million deal, whatever the exact number is, $115 million deal. Even that one's the kind they have a little bit of an escape door after just 1 year. That being said, I do think one of the risks that they are running right now, on top of the obvious, which is one of the, 2, 3 best pass rushers at worst in the NFL, is not available for a defense that was terrible besides him last year, is what's the rest of the locker room thinking? They're probably young bucks on that team that are saying, all right, so a guy who does everything right, is extremely accountable, produces on the field, by all accounts is a great teammate, can't get his deal done.
Yep.
What do I have to do to get my deal done?
But the Joe Burrow contracts had multiple years of guaranteed money. And Jamar Chase had multiple years of guaranteed money.
That's what I said. Most often
quarterbacks and Jamar Chase.
So
he's 30 years old, by the way. That's the issue, right? We're saying, on the Bengals side, they're like, he's going to decline in production because he's older. I don't agree. I'm just saying that's...
I know you don't. See, that boogeyman 30 number, like, it's so annoying to listen to sometimes because it's just like... It's like before you even get to the actual particulars of the player, it's like 30 years old. Well, you know what we got to do now?
Yeah.
Now we got to cut. Come on now.
How old is T.J. Watt?
Exactly. He's put 30 plus. I mean, come on. See, listen, they have no shot without him.
Yeah.
They have, and they're not going to develop Shamar Stewart the way they want to without him.
See, but I think that point and then your perspective is the most interesting part of the conversation. Because from the front office perspective, are you sitting there going and banking on he won't sit out 2, 3-4 games. Like, we know this guy, we know his character. It's one of the reasons why we would be willing to pay him a certain amount of money.
They know he'll sit out.
See, I just wouldn't want, like guys, like, to be quite honest with you, Dan, guys like that, I wouldn't be wanting to play that chicken game. I wouldn't want to play that game.
I agree.
Because to me, it just feels wrong. It's like, you've done everything I've asked you to do.
Yeah.
Just do right by the guy.
You know, there's always like that point, right, in the negotiation where you kind of give in something that you didn't want, but you don't give everything. And as a player, right, you get a lot of what you want, but maybe not everything. That's the sweet spot, right?
Sure.
So since he's got to budge some a little bit here, otherwise your defense is going to stink. It just is.
And we've seen what it looked like last year.
When you're talking about projecting him sitting out, I want to say it's July 26th. There is so much time between now and then. There is so much time for these two sides to figure out a deal, find a way to get it done, and that would be what I would think would happen at some point. That they'll get a deal done.
Yeah.
Right. He said these things have a way of working themselves out.
Of course they do.
I have a feeling this will work itself out, which is kind of like, I have a feeling I'll give in a little.
I have a feeling I'm going to let this work out. All right, there's other deals that aren't done. We'll talk about Micah Parsons, Terry McLaurin, and more a little bit later on in the show. And a reminder that we are live at all of these camps as we go around today. So we'll go to the Dolphins soon. You see Tyreek Hill getting ready to go out there. He's talked about more accountability with his teammates. Tua Tagovailoa saying they're working on actually rehabbing their relationship a little bit. We'll see them live on the field, see what that connection looks like in just a little bit as we continue on here. Here's more of our schedule. We just showed you the Dolphins. That's a little cheat sheet. That's where we're going next. But later on in the day, the Cowboys, you see them at 2:30 p.m. That'll be on ABC. Don't miss that. You'll see the really interesting quarterback battle there. We've heard a lot about Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco. Of course, you've got everything going on with Shedeur Sanders as well, and we'll keep an eye on what Dillon Gabriel is doing too. So I believe we're going to stay here for just a minute. Let me know if that's what we're doing. Chanel, our producer. Okay, we're staying here. So when you look at this quarterback battle field, we'll start with you. You got a lot of familiarity with the guys they drafted, and Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. Seems like the veterans, though, have a leg up.
Are we going optimist, or are we going sort of like wet blanket?
What do you want to be today?
I want reality. I want reality. I don't want
Tell us the truth.
Give me what you got.
Okay, this is reality. I was talking with Dan before our show started today, and I was noting that, you know, on paper, this 2026 NFL draft class for quarterbacks looks very, very strong. We got strength in numbers, and we get some real star power at the top. There's a part of me that thinks very strongly that we'll talk about this Browns quarterback battle as much as anything other than maybe Micah Parsons' contract dispute, depending on how long that lasts for the next 4.5, 5 weeks. There's a part of that also thinks that maybe the answer to the Browns quarterback situation is none. It's none of the four above, right? It's that they'll patch it together for a year. They have their own first-round pick next year and the Jaguars' first-round pick next year. That maybe the most important takeaway from all of this is that if none of them separates themselves, we have our eyes on quarterbacks, a la maybe Arch Manning and Sam Levitt and Lenore Sellers and others who are available, potentially Cade Klubnik from Clemson.
What, Dan?
Okay,
You're looking at something. Somebody looks small.
Gabriel
I knew
looks
it.
small next to Joe Flacco. Now, Joe's 6'5", 6'6", 240. Here's my thing. If the answer's none, you better know that clearly it's neither of those rookies.
Correct. I agree.
We've been asked this whole offseason, what should be the plan? Joe Flacco, for me, it wouldn't be. I know who Joe is. He's a good player. Joe is going to get us to, if I'm in Cleveland, 8 and 9, and we're not going to be in control of what we do with one of those in totality or those 2 first-round picks next year. I would be doing everything to see if Dillon Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders could be a starting quarterback for me to start this year, and then see if we struck gold. Because then we got a real shot for a quick retool next year.
I agree.
But that's what this year's about. That field is just saying the possibility exists that none of these guys are it. But there also is the possibility that one of the guys is it.
But Shefty, my point is this. We know Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett aren't it. We know that. As far as like the long-term starting quarterback guy, we know that
hold on.
Those two guys.
Kenny Pickett, and I'm not saying the chances are you're absolutely right. But what if Kenny Pickett is Baker Mayfield? What if Kenny Pickett is Sam Darnold? What if Kenny Pickett, who was a first-round draft, develops, like, I understand what you're saying. He's bounced around. But there have been other former first-round picks that have bounced around that later on have had something of a resurgence. the chances are it won't happen. I got it.
Right.
But that's what this year is about. Like, let's see what he can do for Kevin Stefanski and see if there's any hope to rebound him to the type of talent and potential he has. Okay, he can't do it, no problem. We know what Joe Flacco is. You got to find out what the two you got to get some answers on these quarterbacks, and it could be that none of them are the answers, but that's why it is the most interesting room, in my mind, in the NFL this summer, the Cleveland Browns quarterback room, with those four guys. And Deshaun Watson not even mentioned in the conversation.
Right. Lewis, the other thing about this is we've heard that Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco kind of splitting first-team reps. We'll keep an eye on today as you're looking at live practice right now, who actually takes the first-team reps. How do you get enough reps for these guys?
You don't.
Right.
That's the problem. See, that's where like a lot of this it's just flapping your jaws and just talking here when we're saying, well, they got to find out. Quite honestly, you don't have time to find out. In a nice, fair, like balanced, organic way, because you're trying to get ready to like play the season, right? So there's only so many reps to go around, and it's not like practices are the same way they used to be when I played. I mean, these guys basically practice once a day, okay? And so I mean, it's like you don't have enough reps. And see, here's the thing: like, to me, it feels so much like they've already almost like kind of boxed themselves into the fact that look, we have so much draft capital a year from now that we don't really, you know what, if it works out, if we struck gold, great. If we don't, that's fine, because you know what, we have all this draft capital next year, and one of those guys next year is bound to be a franchise quarterback. So hey, it is what it is. And you know what's interesting? Look, the Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders thing, I was just talking about this just the other day on